So, what does steel construction in the 21st century look like? Well, in the past 20 years, we've seen CNC machines be able to scribe and locate parts, as well as automatically weld them now with robotic welders. We now have systems like Tekla EPM that are the heartline of fabrication shops in controlling all of material ordering and inventory, as well as production tracking. And detailing is no longer just done at an office across the town. It's actually being done by individuals across the world in different time zones. And many of those folks have never, ever been able to be inside of a shop just like yours. Now, also, we live in a day and age where there's, BIM or building information modeling is pretty well spread out, not just in the steel detailing world, but also in the general contracting and the design world. And so oftentimes BIM execution plans are required, which adds extra procedure and process to actually working on jobs. And then also, we live in a world where there's laser scans and point clouds, which can bring job site conditions for coordination, as well as class checking. And there's a variety of different file formats. So, there's so many different file formats and softwares out there that, which different softwares and files do you need in order to complete your process. And then also, we live in a world where there's AR, VR, and MR, so augmented reality, virtual reality, and XR is basically the term that encompasses all of them. But basically, this new technology that can allow you to visualize models, and how does that actually fit into construction? So I've been at the receiving end of a lot of emails and phone calls, especially from project managers at fabrication shops, where essentially they're asking, hey, I don't know if we have everything we need. They're getting lots of emails from their production control departments, from the shop, and so or from their customer, the general contractor, that we need these files for coordination, etc. And so this is a lot of what I like to offer, and help make that process a lot simpler and easier for you. And so my name's Chris Keyack, and again, I've been in the construction industry and specifically in the steel industry for over 20 years. And 15 years of that has been revolved around working with the Tekla and Trimble products. And 15 years of that as well has also been involved in working with the Tekla API, which is the programming interface to use to customize the software, as well as to do exchanges of information between the 3D model and other software. And I've also worked at Tekla and Trimble as an insider for 8 years, both on the Trimble Connect team and the Tekla Structures team, essentially working in sales, product management, as well as product development. So I've got a broad background both in the industry working on projects, coming from the steel detailing side and working closely with fabricators and cross fabrication departments, as well as at the technology vendors that provide the software solutions. So there are 3 core things at Keyack Technology Solutions that I offer, and it's training, documentation, and integration. And these are the core elements that help improve and streamline productivity in a structural steel organization and workflow. And when we look at training, essentially what we focus on here at KTS is essentially the Tekla and Trimble ecosystem of products. So starting with detailing with Tekla Structures, and then pushing that information and how to link up that information and get the right data over to Tekla EPM. And then also tying that information to Trimble Connect to visualize the 3D model and data from both Tekla Structures and Tekla EPM, and make that information, that 3D model and the 2D drawings, accessible to both the shop as well as out in the field. And we can do training on site as well as online, and focus kind of sessions on topical particular issues and questions. And then we have beginner to advanced training, and specifically for fabricators, we have a focused ESTA modeling kind of sort of structured training that helps kind of focus and takes away some of the detailing complexity of training on Tekla Power Fab or Tekla Structures to do ESTA modeling and modeling, and then being able to leverage that and pull that into basically Tekla EPM. Next, we have documentation. And one thing that I've noticed, I've been a Tekla administrator as well as a chief technology officer for detailing firms, and even worked with fabricators creating detailing manuals. And a lot of these manuals are, in some cases, pretty old, and so they might be a little bit out of date. And so one of the key things that I like to do is, you got to remember, like I said, a lot of detailing is being done globally, and a lot of detailers have not had the chance to actually step inside your shop and see exactly how things are set up. And so some of the detailing manuals that I see are really complicated, and they're very text heavy. And even ones nowadays with a lot of customized Tekla setup and things like that, they're so complicated that it's almost like reading a novel just to get going on a project. And so what I like to do is I'll do an audit of the detailing manuals that you have. And you can either do a complete overhaul, or what I do sometimes is I'll make supplemental information, like where I'll make videos or just a quick visual guide that is like sort of a add-on or an addendum to like a specific chapter or section in your detailing manual that makes it a bit more visual and easier for people to understand the specific things that you're looking for. Then we also create instruction guides, so step by step on how to use different software, follow certain standard operating procedures in your organization. And what we can also do is we can then tie this. You can either just have the documents and host them or send them to your detailing firm, or I can show you basically how you can create an online learning portal to manage all the content. And lastly, we have integration. And this is a pretty important piece. And I would say that the biggest thing that I like to emphasize focusing on is really getting that Tekla structures to Tekla EPM data. There are so many variations of people who change things in Tekla EPM, and then that impacts basically what detailers are going to send across, whether this is drawing status, material grades, things being on hold, paint and clean spec, bolts, all sorts of things get customized, and there's a big breakdown that often happens between the detailer and the fabricator. And basically a big portion of what I do is I try to streamline that process and make it so that way that's seamless. Now, also, again, if you have BIM deliverables, like you're required to create, there's a BIM execution plan in your project and you're working with clients, if you need to create certain deliverables and have questions on those, I can walk through and answer any of that, as well as reviewing CNC exports. We live in a day and age where there's a lot of integrations with Tekla structures for welding machines or for pipe bending machines and things like that. And then there's just a lot of questions sometimes even on standard old school DSTV CNC files. And a lot of what I focus on there is helping kind of answer any questions or go over that. So I deal with all the technical mumbo jumbo and going through and figuring out what's exactly required, and then make it easier for you to communicate with the detailer to get the information you need. Then also, this is something that we've been expanding. There is a programming or an API interface with Tekla EPM, and that's actually feeds Tekla EPM Go, which is the online and basically interface of Tekla EPM. And there is an API that essentially can be used to link data to like your accounting software or ERP solutions that you might have already existing in your company. And so there are some opportunities where we can actually create automated links and exchange data between that if required. So again, my name is Chris Keyack, and I'm with KTS, which is Keyack Technology Solutions. My phone number and email address are here. And just feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or basically want to schedule a consulting visit where I can come out or I can have a phone call and go over the different issues and things that you're going through and see how I can help you out. Also, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on the latest and greatest educational content on steel workflows.